My friends think my girlfriend is too good for me because I slept with someone else. In September, I, M24, broke up with my ex-girlfriend because she cheated on me. I wasn't too sad or anything, but at the time, I felt pretty strongly about not being with someone else for a long time. I started casually sleeping with one of my friends, Sophie, F23, and hanging out with two of my other engaged pals, M34 F23, more than ever. They made a lot of comments about me and Sophie that eventually, I went into full freak-out mode and ended things. It felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. We decided to stay friends and was no animosity. During this time, I slept with someone else. Things got a little weird after that. They weren't happy that I'd slept with someone else, despite Sophie not being annoyed. Sophie would tell me what they were saying behind my back and that during this time, they'd tried to have a threesome with her. I was annoyed about it but aware of the fact I couldn't be, because I'd slept with someone else anyway. As time went on, it became pretty obvious that both of the engaged friends had feelings for Sophie, especially if the other person in the couple wasn't around. Weird comments were made and each of them seemed to be fighting over her affections. It's also worth mentioning that neither of them ever admitted this, but Sophie definitely felt like both of them were individually coming onto her, but also had her doubts that they were maybe just getting inadvertently a little too friendly. As Sophie and I carried on being friends, we eventually decided to give it a go and get into a relationship with one another. It wasn't something that happened without its dramas, and as I had ended things with her previously and slept with someone else, I had a lot of making up to do. I definitely didn't have her trust at the beginning, but we talked and talked and talked, and I eventually proved to her that I was serious about her and serious about the relationship. Months pass and suddenly M34 confronts Sophie and starts bringing up how I had slept with someone else. Obviously, things are different now and have been very positive between us for a long time. We are very happy. Sophie brushed past it, but we then found out that for last month, they had been talking about us and our relationship very negatively, focusing on the fact I had slept with someone else and discussing things told to them in confidence with lots of different people we didn't know very well, and people we did. Sophie confronted them about it. They said they'd done nothing wrong and were allowed their opinion and were only acting this way because they cared so much. M34 then messaged me and told me he had no respect for me, didn't value my friendship anymore, and quoted commitment phobia things I had said back in December 2020. Obviously, I said and did these things? Everything they are saying happened, but resolved between Sophie and I regret what happened, but at the time, I was single and had been honest about my feelings to them and to Sophie. I do have to admit that I am still bitter about how they've acted with Sophie in the past, that it's hard to remain objective. Are these genuinely two friends who are concerned for Sophie, or do they have ulterior motives? Edit. Obviously the age gap is something that naturally can be the point of focus, but I've never been judgmental of the age gap between the two of them because F23 is a grown-ass woman who can make her own decisions about who she wants to be with. Thank you for all the comments. I've always been so focused on not letting his age come into my perspective of him, but when you look at it for what it is, a 34-year-old man shouldn't be directly involving himself in my relationship under any circumstance. This other dude sounds like he's mad the threesome didn't work out and is trying to get something going with her by degrading you, in my opinion. Were you two in a relationship when you slept with someone else? Did you sleep with one of their best friends right after? Did you agree on a break where the two of you wouldn't see anyone else? No? Then focus on Sophie. If you two are doing all right and building a relationship, then continue doing that. I'd find another group of friends to hang out with. Maybe I'm just cranky, but this 34-year-old guy is really creepy and annoying. Why is he hanging out with so many people that he could have babysat in high school? A man 10 years older than you is causing this much drama in your life. That relationship needs to be severed. He's a weirdo. They can have an opinion, but they obviously aren't your friends. You both need to cut them from your lives and move on. Is M34 a 34-year-old dude? And he uncomfortably wanted a threesome with her that she was not having? Yeah, dude, I think you messed up big losing his respect. He sounds like the whole package. JK. Dude's weird. You should have cut him long ago. They're jealous. They're not concerned about her well-being. They sound like they are being all, if I can't have her no one can. This other couple sounds creepy and manipulative as hell. I think it's time for you and Sophie both to go no contact with them. LMAO, tell that 34-year-old to get a damn mortgage and mind his damn business. They clearly have feelings of her and are trying to sabotage things. Why still talk to them? Cut them off. I, 38F, have hit my limit with husbands. 44M, relationship with his ex-wife. I've been married to my husband for 7 years, together for 10. His relationship with his ex has always been odd and not easy to wrap your brain around. They were HS sweethearts. Married and had 3 kids. He loved her more than she ever loved him. He built her a huge house, bought her the luxury car, and let her max out all his credit cards before finally finding out she had been having a long-term affair. Then she moved out and left him with all the debt, short sale, bankruptcy, etc. He was crushed. Like to the point he broke down crying in a meeting at work with hundreds of people in the room and had to run out. A year or 2 after they split, he found out his oldest son isn't his, but he has never confronted her about it. She has a decent job but lives with her mom and he voluntarily pays her roughly twice what she should be getting in child support. For as long as she has known we were together, she has said inappropriate things, mostly aimed at diminishing me or our marriage. Some examples. Telling him their kids need to not confuse who their real family is. She does not want hers to consider mine siblings. Later saying she should have been consulted beforehand when he adopted my daughter, whose dad died before we married, saying his oldest doesn't want to come over because of me. He prefers his mom's because his PC is there and she doesn't enforce any rules. Asking if they can ride together to kids' events, and then telling him to tell me not to come when he said he was riding with me, telling him she would be the one taking care of both their moms when they're old, when his dad had a health scare, and 2 frequent negative, mean-spirited things about me as a wife, mom, and/or human being in general. My husband has never called her out, established boundaries, or defended me or our marriage. When their children were small, I justified it by him being non-confrontational and knowing that she would say horrible things about him to their children if he rocked the boat. But now all are old enough to see clearly who she is and what the truth is about both of their characters. A few days ago, they got in a big fight over the phone over their oldest, failing classes at school, hitting his friend with his car while doing backward donuts, etc. Teenager behavior. She then started texting him really mean things, e.g. told him he's a bad father, that he doesn't support her financially, he doesn't remember what a real marriage is like, and to eat a DCK. He sent back 6 more years, inferring that he only has to deal with her until the youngest turns 18. Something he has told me he is counting down the day towards since before we married. She texted him back that they would never be out of his life, that she was heartbroken, and in tears. Now they are right as rain, but I have felt numb and empty inside for days. I don't tell my friends or family the things she does, and he doesn't do like stand up for me, because they would think poorly of us both. So I've just kept it mostly bottled up for years. When I occasionally bring up something specific, like requesting he tell her not to just walk into our home without knocking, he assures me I have nothing to worry about and nothing changes. I'm not sure I can handle another 6 years of this. Or worse, that when the youngest turns 18, he will make an excuse not to cut her off. I want to give him an ultimatum, but know that won't go well either. Any advice on how best to handle the situation? Or at least how to not let it leave me feeling second best and unimportant to the man I love? The first thing that strikes me as strange after reading this, is husband won't stand up for you, but you also won't stand up for you. I'm not saying he shouldn't naturally want to defend you from this awful woman, but if he's non-confrontational and so are you, who is supposed to be the assertive one here? And that's about all I can say on the matter, as I'm just a dumb 21M. I will conclude however that you're probably right about her not being cut off from his life when the youngest turns 18. There will still be situations like paying for college, or weddings down the road that will force them to interact. He's not going to learn to draw and maintain healthy boundaries overnight. He needs to learn this skill for his own good, for your well-being and most importantly for his kids who seem to be put in the middle of things by their mother. Before he can learn to put boundaries in place, he has to recognize that they are needed. Seek relationship counseling immediately. I know it's the classic answer here, but there's a reason for that. Bad news first. She's right, they will always been in his life. He doesn't stop being a dad when the youngest turns 18 and she won't stop being their mother. There are graduations, weddings, babies, funerals and more. Children are for life. Good news. You're not second best or unimportant, even if it feels that way. You need to decide if you can handle a lifetime of this, and if you can, what boundaries you need to set. Then, the hard part, set them. If he can't live with your boundaries, assuming they're reasonable, that's an answer to. And hugs to you. Blended families are not easy. Honest question. You saw his dysfunctional relationship and his inability to stand up for you and thought, that's the one right there. I'm gonna marry him. Why? You want him to establish boundaries with his ex, but you refuse to establish any in your marriage. You are not setting any expectations for respect. He's a doormat, but so are you. You married him thinking that you won and things would get better. They haven't. He only reached a slight breaking point because she pushed him, not because he actually cares about your marriage. For advice, I guess marriage counseling. But honestly, this just sounds sad. I just have to say that failing classes and hitting a friend with a car while doing donuts is not normal teenage behavior. But as for the rest, you need to actually communicate with him. He might be a lost cause, but you have to at least give him the chance to fix things. Make it clear how this is affecting you. Set firm boundaries that have consequences. You need to decide if this is the life you want to live though. Because he probably won't change, he has no reason to. Are you prepared to do what you have to do to be happy and keep your kids away from this toxicity? I wouldn't say it's ultimatum time, 'cause they don't work. But he needs to understand what this is doing to you. It will be hard for him. He'll probably not understand. If it's been so bad for so long, why are you just saying these things now, etc. But you gotta just reaffirm what a problem it is. It will cause massive problems in your marriage. But there's no way to change this without him getting that peanut between his ears wrapped around what this is doing to you. It may not happen, and he'll appreciate you after you have left. But I do think if you want to work on it, you pretty well have to talk about it every day. Make him mad, etc. You married a man after dating for 3 years, having had knowledge of how he treats his ex, how his ex treats you, and how he won't stand up for you. I can see why you're at the end if you're rope from the post, but honestly, I'm wondering why you married someone who doesn't respect you enough to defend you and your relationship in the first place. The fact that you feel enough shame about the situation to never discuss it with anyone else is also pretty telling. You need to make a choice whether you want to be treated like shit by your husband's ex-wife for the rest of your life or not, because that's basically where you are. If you don't like that idea, it's ultimatum time for your husband, and if he doesn't do anything to curb the behavior immediately, then it's time to leave. Lol, your husband's ex-wife is your mother-in-law. Wife, 35F. Wants me to quit my 32M career or she'll leave. We have been married for almost 4 years now, and have 2 kids together, 2.5 years and 2 months. I have always wanted to work in the emergency services and finally after a long wait got my chance, and have been doing so for the past 7 months or so. It's shift work, so it was an adjustment, but I thought it was going well. The last couple of tours of work, 2 days, 2 nights, then 4 days off. I got constant messages from her about how she can't do this and it isn't the life she chose. It's unfair of me to leave her with the kids when I'm working nights and she can't do it. She has reached her limits and wants me to quit or she'll walk away. She's also admitted to me in the past that she's allergic to hard work, so a part of me feels like she just doesn't want to have to do any parenting at all alone without it seeming that it's too hard. I believe that in itself is something to ponder, but outside of that our relationship isn't strong. For a long time she was mentally and rarely also physically abusive towards me, telling me I'm useless, an idiot, telling me to kill myself, that nobody wants me around. I've had to leave work at my old job too many times to count because I'd forgotten to do something minor like take out the garbage or forgot to put something in her lunch for her. I've even gotten fired from a job because I started to lose focus and wasn't performing well anymore, plus leaving all the time. It put me in a really bad place and have been suffering from depression since all of that. Outside of my job, we are already on the brink of divorce, with both of us considering leaving. My question is, should I consider leaving my passion career, with incredible upside in terms of salary, pension and benefits, for the sake of my marriage? Edit. I did not expect for this to get as much traction as it did. I really appreciated everyone's input. To add to what people are saying, almost every one of you has said how I feel. I needed this validation that I wasn't crazy for thinking sticking with my job was the obvious choice. I've allowed this relationship to consume my ability to think for myself. I've just allowed all of this to happen. It's time I take my life back into my own hands. A sincere thank you to all of you. Edit 2. I stayed firm on my position about my career. For the time being, she is going to arrange for help when I am working nights, or on weekends. This doesn't fix our relationship that needs to end. At this point, I am trying to work it out financially, actually have a spreadsheet on the go, and in a way that keeps my kids the safest. As of right now, I say with confidence she's not abusive towards the kids, but it doesn't mean it's not a possibility. But the moment I feel comfortable with it, I am leaving. I am reading through the comments thoroughly today after skimming them last night. I'll respond to people when I can. Thank you everyone. No, you should leave her. She's lost control of you and that's why she's doing this. Wait, what? You used to leave work to take out garbage or put something in her lunch for her. Why would anyone do this? That is not normal behavior, and of course it would get you fired. The right answer would be, you are also an adult and are capable of doing these things. I can't do everything. I'm working now. Please only call at work if it's an emergency. See you when I get home. So now you're in a better job and a better headspace and enjoying yourself, and you are seriously entertaining quitting your dream job to get abused 24/7? Is there even a question? To answer the question, no, you shouldn't do that. If you are already on the brink of divorce, this is not going to save the marriage. She will find something else to leave you for. Reading about that she abused you, I would recommend to let the relationship end. Make sure to protect the children as well. If you still feel bad about yourself, it is not a usurper seeing what you said of what she tells you. No single partner should do to someone what she does to you. Don't let her keep controlling and abusing you like this. Keep job, lose the wife. Allergic to hard work. What the fuck? So you should both be unemployed losers sending texts to working people with actual ambitions? The person who said she's lost control of you was spot on. Let me guess, while you work shifts you can't take any phone call, right? She can't keep up with her behavior of asking you to come home to fix this or that. Basically she is feeling her narcissist power being taken away. I'd dump her. You, a depressed person, have finally found something you're passionate about and have always wanted, and your manipulative wife wants to take it away from you. Leave her, not the job. She has lost respect for you. I would advise that you watch out for any infidelity. Could be on the way or already there. My sister's 15F friend, 15F, always wants to join us in our adventures. 18M. Depending on weather, my sister always texts me in the morning saying she wants to go for a walk at this park, ravine, beach, area. I work night shift, so once I wake up, I always say yes and we go for a few hours. It's relaxing, we get exercise. My sister always brings a blanket and food for us like a picnic, and I think we've been through every park in our province. Plus my sister always pays me for gas and tips, so hell I'm always down. I think this Monday, my sister and I were walking through the park and we saw her classmate, nicknamed Kitty. Both of them began to talk and she invited Kitty to come join us. The three of us went to the ravine, where these two extroverts both talked non-stop and we explored and had a great time. We dropped her off at home. My sister asked to pick Kitty up on Tuesday and Wednesday, and again she joined us for the day. 1. Yesterday, my sister and I went together to another park by the ravine. Kitty walked an hour to come join us, as she slept in. 2. She seems really cheerful, funny, laughs a lot, talks way too much and seems to enjoy our company. 3. Everyday Kitty wore long-sleeved shirt and pants. Yesterday, she took them off since it was hot when we were together and I noticed a few cuts on her wrists, arms, and inner thigh. I didn't say anything. 4. My sister took a quick nap after we finished our picnic. While I was sitting by the rocks, Kitty joined me and began to talk to me. She began to sit closer to me, and touched me a few times on the arms and my back. I ignored it. 5. On our drive back home, Kitty thanked us saying we were the nicest people in the world. 6. After we dropped her home, she gave me money for gas and gave my sister and I a gift bag. 7. On our drive home, my sister mentioned that Kitty was depressed and suicidal according to her social media. At this point, I'm unsure of what to do about my sister's friend Kitty. I never expected her to be going through these things in life. Should we continue to hang out with her, and what do we do about her suicidal thoughts? Too long did not read. Learned my sister's friend is depressed and suicidal. Is this a cause for concern and is there anything I can do? These trips might be some of the only fun things she's doing. If you guys plan those trips, I'd bet she'll look forward to it even. Keep bringing her with you though, it might not pull her out of her depression, but it'll help her along either way. I would recommend not bringing up her cutting and suicidal thoughts, let her come out and talk about it first. Other than reject her advances, just sit tight and intervene if she's in a particularly bad spot. Encourage your sister to share her concerns with a teacher at school. They are trained for this and are best placed to handle it. Be very careful not to end up in a compromising situation. Keep a physical distance. Do not respond to anything flirtatious, and shut it down if you need to. Make it clear to your sister you don't want her friend coming every time. Put some boundaries on place. If you are concerned your boundaries are being ignored or are hard to enforce, the trips need to stop. This girl is vulnerable, and although you want to help, it could quickly become very tricky for you. Don't engage with her on social media, either. She's your sister's friend, not yours, and that needs to be clear. Be supportive and just listen. Oh, and treasure your sister. Because if she can be so considerate at 15, I am sure she is going to grow up to be a wonderful human being. This world needs more folks like her. Remain friends with her, she needs people in her life. Not everyone goes home to love. The best thing you can do is give her a safe space, which you are doing, and talk to her. She obviously cares a lot about you, and when people are extremely happy and upbeat, it's usually because they know how awful it feels to be miserable and don't want anyone else to feel that way. Good on you for seeking advice. I think it is great that you are including her. I know from experience that depression can start early. I was diagnosed at 13 with depression, and my first suicide attempt was at that age too. Almost no one knew I was depressed because I was always happy-go-lucky. I find that people with depression are the best at hiding it. If she opens up, just be supportive and listen. That is one thing that is the best thing you can do. Keep doing what you're doing, Op. You might well save this girl's life in the long run. You sound like a great big brother, keep it up. Edit. Do be careful, though, with the touching you bit. She might get attached easily and see you as a romantic option, which until she's 18 is a huge no-no for you.